The stars have arrived for Cthulhu to arise and to reveal this video's sponsor, Curiosity Stream.
Cthulhu talking. Character is what you are in the dark, but money is what you will have in the bank if you can fake characterization. Good old Merriam-Webster defines characterization as
The artistic representation, as in fiction or drama, of human character or motives.
basically, it is how a story reveals aspect of the characters to the audience. But, more importantly, how can a writer properly characterize their cast in their story, especially if, like me, one finds themselves to be a boring person that has all the force of personality of a potted fern? Well, fear not, for terrible writing advice will show any writer how to properly write characterization. And you can trust me, because over the course of many TWA episodes, it's not like I have been characterized as petty, greedy, self-serving, short-sighted, insensitive, mean, ignorant, ruthless, and just all around about as trustworthy as a used car salesman trying to sell you timeshares on Neptune. Now, the most important thing to remember is that characterization is a purely optional component of storytelling. There is direct characterization, in which the story just tells us about an aspect of a character's personality. Indirect characterization, which the story shows the audience a quality about the character, but the best method is no characterization. People don't read stories for interesting characters, they read stories purely to watch cardboard cutouts fight over MacGuffins. That means that it is fine to have a protagonist whose only character trait is that they are the protagonist. Only a generic protagonist person can save the world now, while a protagonist lacking any extreme personality qualities can serve as a solid anchor so the audience has someone to identify with in an otherwise colorful cast of characters. This means that they will really identify with a character whose charisma could be rivaled by a plastic spoon. So our main character has precisely 0 character traits, which is great! Do they have a motive as well? Don't be silly. Of course my main character has a motive. The protagonist's motive is to, find the MacGuffin. What is the protagonist's stake in finding the MacGuffin? Why does our protagonist want to leave their comfortable life and go on dangerous adventures? Because the plot knows where they live and will burn down their house if they don't get moving. See? That got the protagonist going. No characterization required. So we have burned down the protagonist's home, revealed a secret world of magic populated by hyper-dangerous apex predators, and thrust them into the middle of cutthroat wizard house politics, and have basically completely demolished the protagonist's worldview. What is their reaction to learning that everything they've ever known is a lie? Well, we will never know because we have to get to the next plot point. There isn't time for the characters to emotionally process events because I have to dump the epic history of House Longwindionis in here somewhere. But what if the writer is a try-hard who wants to actually characterize their characters? Well, then we give our characters some character traits. Let's make Mary Sue clumsy. That's a trait, right? Hey, we can even count that as a flaw. Mary Sue is determined, steadfast, intelligent, and other positive adjectives we can slap on a character profile. Character profiles can be a good way to organize information about a character, but they really shine when a writer spends endless hours tweaking and obsessing over it. Because I personally find character profiles just so exciting, like a grocery list. Now we just arrange a bunch of random character traits and the whole thing simply works, right? Mary Sue is confident, but she is also insecure. Can't see how those are mutually exclusive. It's not like character flaws are the flip side of character strengths and that these two components form a character trait. Even better, let's substitute character traits with character archetypes. Just have the character defined not by their characterization, but purely by their role in the story and nothing else. Archetypes can make for a great foundation to build on, so once you have established a character's archetype, then just stop there. You are done. No need to add any additional characterization. That all sounds way too complicated and unnecessary. I think I'll just ignore all of that. Uh-oh, it looks like my characters have encountered their first obstacle. Looks like we have external conflict. How will my protagonist handle this situation? See, if I was all worried about characterization, I would have to have the protagonist overcome this obstacle in a clever and insightful way that conveys an aspect of the protagonist's character to the audience, like having a cunning character talk their way past the guards, or have a craven character face their fears in order to move forward. But instead, I can just have the character blast this problem away with their super magic tech powers. How will our headstrong and optimistic hero deal with our rebellious and jaded anti-hero when the two clash over how best to defeat Lord Killington III? Will the tense dialogue exchange strain their already tenuous working relationship while highlighting the key differences between the characters? Will the dialogue reveal the anti-hero's true nature as a lost soul bent on revenge regardless of the cost to himself or others? Will the hero be able to set aside his idealism in order to achieve victory? These are all good questions I would be forced to answer if I intended to properly characterize my cast through conflict. I have a much better idea on how to write this scene. Instead, I can have the characters just rehash plot points we already know and then send them off chasing the next MacGuffin in the plot coupon scavenger hunt. I don't even need to worry about internal conflict either. How does our hero feel about being the chosen one? It's okay, I guess. Beats being a farm boy on a safe homestead surrounded by a loving family and not having to worry about the political manipulations of nation-states, the forces of darkness' constant attempts at assassination, frequent pitched life and death battles, and the very fate of the world resting on his shoulders. No pressure. Every day, the chosen one's decisions result in untold deaths and unprecedented political and social upheaval, so I see absolutely no reason he would feel internally conflicted about anything. The only internal anything going on with my characters is their internal monologues, which should just be mind-numbingly banal. God forbid we accidentally make the characters think. That would be disastrous. They might actually have their core beliefs and values challenged by the story, which will be a problem because I didn't bother to give them any. Why would the characters need a way to contextualize the world around them? Characterization is all about looking for opportunities to characterize the cast. Do we get to see a character's home and thus get to see what kind of environment they create for themselves? What about when a character relaxes and lets their guard down? No, I'm not going to let any of that happen. I'll spring another action scene on my characters instead. I just better be careful because some characterization might slip in how the character reacts during the action scene. Got to stomp all of that out. Writers should be especially careful during the revision process, as that is where most characterization can be added in and finally honed. Of course, any true writer following my excellent advice shouldn't be revising anyway. Digging down and working out just what makes a character tick will never be as interesting as crossing out line items on our plot coupon quest. Audiences don't need characters to get attached to. They need brainless explosions, gratuitous franchise building, and endless sarcastic quips in place of where a character's personality should go. I mean, hey, it works for me.
Make it stop.
Sorry, DL. Gotta break your will. Company policy for its enemies. Hang on. Excuse me, sir. Do you have a moment to talk about our Lord and Destroyer, Cthulhu?
Cthulhu talking.
I don't give to charities. But, sir, it will only take a moment of your time to tell you about how Cthulhu will rise from the depths of VA and fill the world with wailing ash and blood. Join us and you too can be eaten alive along with everyone else. You guys aren't good with sales pitches, are you? So that's a no? Okay. Then would you be interested in this video's sponsor, CuriosityStream? Another sponsor? Of course. CuriosityStream is a subscription streaming service for those with an endless hunger for knowledge. With over 2,400 documentaries and non-fiction titles, including exclusive originals. Wait, is that the one founded by that Discovery Channel guy? I thought I bought them out.
I ended up binging all of their ancient Rome videos.
Hey, JP should cover stories set in ancient Rome before Cthulhu eats him. Unlimited access can be yours for $2.99 a month, and followers of the TWA cult can get the first 31 days completely free if you sign up at curiositystream.com/TWA and use the code TWA during the sign-up process. Great. Stamp out one sponsor and another one pops up. Sorry, fellas. Got to take care of you too. Security? Security?
I'm afraid security won't be helping anyone, much like your customer service. Now prepare yourself for my highly complicated and overly elaborate revenge.